Hello and welcome to episode 44 of When the Flames Go Up, the ATFC podcast. This week, a slightly different show for you. I was away in Malaga. Ooh, how did it go? Who knows? So we've recorded an episode discussing our best and worst shots home shirts, and we're going to hopefully do an away shirts, and then maybe just a kind of thirds and goalkeeper kits. There's been some abominations. There's been some nice ones. So this one, just to start us off, home shirts, nice and easy. What's your favourite shirts and the players that you associate with them? And then what's the worst shirts? And what do we not like about shot shirts that we've seen in the past? So if you've got your opinions, hopefully you do, send them in to atfcpodcast@gmail.com and we'll get around to discussing them in either the next kit episode or just the next episode. Enjoy this. We'll be back before Christmas for a kind of festive preview and a review of the Forest Green Rovers away game. So enjoy this episode and see you next week. Up the shots. Right, this episode is a slightly different one. We thought we'd get together and discuss our favourite shot shirts. I'm sure it's something that comes across on train journeys and coach journeys across the country, watching the shots. Which shirts you love, which kits you love, what is a perfect kit to you for Aldershot? That's always one that splits opinion. How much blue should there be? Is it red and blue? Is it red/blue? Should there be an equal footing? I don't know the answer to that, but we'll try and find it at some point. So tonight we're going to be talking about our favourite home shirts and slash kits, and then we'll do a future episode on away kits, which even in just our small discussion beforehand, we'll probably descend into madness because there's so many mad kits that we've had in the past for aways. But luckily the home shirts have stayed pretty similar, so we can pinpoint our favourites. I'm going to come to you first, Guy. You're first up on my screen. What is your favourite shot shirt and why?
I mean, my favorite shirt is probably the first one, but it wasn't at the time, and it was the 1986-87 season, because it's basically when I first went to the rec, right, when I was 11 years old, and I've grown to love it. At the time, I didn't particularly like it. If people remember it, it didn't have a brand on it, and that used to get me so much ribbing at school because, of course, everybody else who supported Manchester United or Arsenal, or actually in the day Liverpool, would always say, "Where's the brand?" I'd be like, and I think I made the mistake of being an 11-year-old and saying, "I think it's homemade," which of course just destroyed any kind of sort of credibility at all. But it's kind of grown on me over the years. I mean, if people remember the shirt though, it was quite itchy on the inside. It was quite tight fitting. It wasn't the best fitted. It had one of those long V necks that sort of almost went down to the middle of your chest. So yeah, and does anyone remember who TA Garages? Was it Tag or TA Garages? I've never quite worked out with the sponsor. And where were they? And what happens to them? That's what I. So yeah, that's kind of the one that I remember fondest because obviously it was my first. It was the first one the first season I ever went. Um, but I also quite liked the red and blue stripes. That was from a few years earlier in the early 80s. I particularly liked that, and I appreciate the current strip, which we've had for the last season and a half, is a homage to that. Of course, all shirts these days are a bit like this. Sort of going back to reflected glories. Of course, that was the period where we didn't actually get promoted. Nothing really. We came close a few times, but not. So yeah, I mean, the red and blue stripes, very fond of because also it kind of makes us look a little bit like Barcelona. There you
Is that the dream? To look like
go.
Barcelona?
That's the dream.
Um, TA Garages, I think it is. Yes, I think it was a Nissan Group garage. So, I mean, that scan's got to be somewhere. If anyone actually knows, Julian, Ian.
It was the garage opposite the ground.
Oh, where
And
Charters Peugeot was.
yeah, I think so. And I think, please correct me if I'm wrong, Ian, or anybody, but I think it was Tag. I think it was TA G garages. I'm not sure now. Oh, I don't know.
Tag Arrages.
Yeah, perhaps not. I think you've probably got it right. It's probably TA garages. But when you're little, it just looks like tag garages, doesn't it?
It
But
does.
I also remember that V-neck guy ended up on my belly button virtually because the shirt was too big for me.
It looks a lovely material. It looks kind of silk and a bit like a ballroom gown almost on the picture I can see. I'm not sure what kind of materials they were using back there. Great, Guy. Any particular player that you can remember, or like when you
Oh,
think of the kit, what player do you instantly think
yeah.
of?
I mean, several. So obviously, my favorite. I mean, after Tony Lang, who was in goal, but the obviously the player of that season was Bobby Barnes wearing number 7. But then there are others. There was Martin Foyle for a time, and also Ian McDonald who wore number 10. I never could quite understand why McDonald wore 10 because I didn't really feel he was a number 10. But I guess being captain, you get to choose which number you're wearing. So yeah.
Right? Yeah. Well, yeah. I don't know about the numbering. Were you just assigned that on where you were on the team sheet?
Think he was a midfielder, but I don't. I mean,
Because
he. I mean,
yeah,
I kind of thought he doesn't sort of strike me as a sort of a Maradona type player, but there you go.
is that what Aldershot players have got to live up to? Barcelona and Maradona. It's a tough life. Great start from Guy. Ian, I'm going to come to you next. What's your favourite home shot shirt?
Yeah, so I'm going to go what we had from 2002 to 2004. It's red with a blue stripe on one side. That one was particularly special for me because that was when I came back to watching Aldershot Town after a few years out of the area. And of course, we won the Ryman Premier in that time, and we had the wonderful first season in the conference as it was then. And the particular match that stands out, I mean, there were so many in that first conference season, they're great, but it was the kit we were wearing when we beat Hereford on penalties at Edgar Street on the bank holiday Monday. So many good players from that. I particularly think of Tim Seals, Roscoe Desane, Aaron McLean, that wonderful front three that we had at the time. So 0204. I've actually don't own the home version of that. I've got the away third kit, I think, which was the blue with the red stripes, the reverse of it. I think the only thing that disqualifies it is there's a slight, it's pretty horrible material, and the sponsor long since fell off High Speed, but I think they're still going. Courier firm, I believe. But 0204 would be my favourite. Honourable mention, I think, for the 08 to 10 back in the Football League shirt that we had. Great era as well for supporting Aldershot, and it, yeah, was a special kit to earn. It really felt like we were on our way to something more, but sadly didn't work out that way.
Yeah, that peak football league Carberini kind of Carberini stuff all in the club shop. I was like, this can only go one way. We're on we're on our way. Yeah. Yeah, so that old shot kit. It's actually, to be honest, it's got I'm pretty sure it's the same material as the 86, 87 one. I don't think they progressed
I
in
wouldn't be
materials.
surprised, yeah, wouldn't
It's
be
got the exact
surprised at all.
same kind of shimmer to it.
Mm.
Yeah, made by ICIS. I not that one. The I'm not sure if they're still going. ICIS. I'm not sure if they're still going. But I love their little. They got little kind of I don't know what you'd call it, like the bottom of a rosette on their kind of on their badge, which is quite unique.
Because they
Yeah.
were sponsors of the Ryman, I think, at some point
Oh, were they?
pre to that, and I think they used to be on the front of Basingstoke shirts or something at one point in the 90s.
Oh,
Could be wrong, could be
yeah.
misremembering that
So we,
totally,
I
but
think we had them. Yeah, had them from about 96 all the way up till until area in 04, 05. So a bit of a dynasty for ISIS with our
I think it
kits.
was they had like they made everyone's kit in the league or something like that. Uh, yeah, I need to go away and research
That's
this more
great.
because I'm sure there was like
I think you're right, Ian. I'm
Yeah,
sure they did. They did for one season or something like that, where they made everyone's kit, and I think most of the teams weren't very happy with what they ended up with. But
Yeah, it'd be
yeah,
interesting
there was definitely some
which
sort of
year that
sponsorship
was.
there.
Yeah.
yeah, about 97, 98-ish.
Oh, yeah. Shots had a bit of yellow on that kit with a collar. Interesting. Yeah, we'll have to do some digging. If anyone knows, if anyone listening knows um, more about that, the whole league having a similar kit or the same framework of a kit, that'd be great. Great to know more. Um, Julian, I'm going to come to you. What is your favourite Shots shirt?
Well, I'm going to choose two because Ian has just destroyed my notes again. 2002 shirt, all red with one blue stripe. Players that spring to mind for me are Roscoe Desane, Aaron McLean, and Tim Seals. Just a magical time of being a shot supporter. There was one game in particular that really stood out for me, and it was one of the away ones I went to, and I think it was quite early on in the season. We went to Telford United. They had just moved into the new ground. It was an amazing ground, and I think from memory we won something like 5-3 at their place, and just a great support that day. And John Challoner again stood out for me. It was the first time that John Challoner had sort of come to the foreground, and I just loved the way he would be charging through for midfield and scoring goals. He was particularly one of my favourites at that time. But as Ian's already chosen that, I'm going to throw in another one as well. This is for the older listeners like myself. I'm going to go for 1978 when we proudly supported an Admiral kit, and it was the England away kit at the time. And again, with all of these kits, we throw up players, don't we, that instantly remind us of the kits. And for me, it was John Dungworth was just a super scorer. He was at the top of the goal scoring lists for I think 2 or 3 years in a row before he got his glamour move to Shrewsbury Town, which everyone was quite surprised at the time. But yeah, 1978 kit was always special. The only thing with that one, though, is that we had white shorts, and I can't think, just off the top of my head, any other time where we've had white shorts in our home kit other than before my time.
No.
But perhaps you can correct me if I'm wrong on that one.
Well, there was the 92-93 season where we came out with white shorts after the club refounded. That we had white shorts that year as well, and
Oh, we did, didn't we? Yeah, of course we did.
yeah, and it threw me a bit because we're going to talk about it later. I mean, when we talk about, what are the colors for Aldershot, when it comes to red and blue, and then you start throwing white in, and like you, Julian. I mean, the 78 shirt was a little bit before my time, but I remember seeing photographs of it, finally seeing color ones, when I was first starting out on my Aldershot journey. And I just thought the white doesn't go. It's not what you relate connect. You don't. It doesn't relate to all the shots in the way that red and blue does.
I think in those days, though, when you chose a kit, it was almost like, well, let's pop down to the sport shop and see which one we'll have. And there was obviously this England kit, perhaps still on a special deal, so we'll have 11 of those. And I think that was probably how the kits were chosen back in those days. But yeah, I particularly love that. Again, probably similar reasons to the other guys in that it was probably one of the first kits that I experienced. And when you're that sort of age, everything is seen through rose tinted glasses, isn't it? Really magical times. But yeah, I'd say a joint top with Ian's choice of 2002 for me.
Nice. Yeah. And I suppose it was similar to when we dropped back down into the National League and we had kind of the 3 years of Adidas where you were kind of always had just had the base that Adidas was selling to. In my head, it was like Macclesfield and Peterborough that they used to have like basically our kit but with their colours. I always used to kind of, I don't know, it was quite nice when we finally got to have our own kit that was specially made for us and a bit more bespoke, which is what we've had recently.
Because I think with the white shorts, people make good point that if you look on the historical sites of Aldershot kits, that white featured quite a lot in the first 50 years of the old club. But it was more that 13, 14, 15 period where it was red with white trim. That just isn't an Aldershot Town shirt for me.
Yeah.
Whereas it's got to be red with blue trim
Mm, yeah.
And
to
to be
be a
fair, they
proper
kind of
kit.
and they did that somewhat, didn't they? I mean, the first year, couple of years with the Adidas ones, it was red and white trim, but towards
Mm.
the end of that, they did start bringing in the blue trim and started to feel more like an Aldershot shirt.
I think again that was a case of getting the team through administration and just picking a shirt off the shelf and making sure it's ready for wear. But yeah, we'll come on to worst home kits, and it's probably what we've already just been speaking about. But anyway, we'll cover that when we cover it.
Yeah, well, because it was Chelsea that helped us with Adidas contracts. I don't think we had a choice in the matter what we got given in the end. It was just send us your badge. We're going to stick this on an Adidas kit, and there you go. I'm going to throw my best one in, uh, and it's a kit we've not yet done the classic kind of um, what's the word? I don't know. Reproduction basically in the future, but I'm sure we will at some point. It's this absolute bad boy. It's the quarters from 0607.
Oh, I
I
love it. I love it.
absolutely love that kit. I think it's similar to, I mean, it's always going to be this way, but a similar time, I think I was going to the rec more regularly at that point, and maybe I was noticing the pitch more. I was in the East Bank, but probably just running around. Um, kicking things and stuff. I think that season was when I started actually looking at the pitch, and yeah, I always fondly remember Ryan Williams and his. I think his like squad photo in that kit. It was just plainly far too big for him. And they obviously just they had a load of sizes, and he just didn't get a shirt that was his size. He just looked draped in it all the time. So that's quite a fond memory, especially as he was a winger as well, a really nippy winger. The shirt was kind of moving. He was moving inside the shirt. Um,
It's almost as if, like when you played at school, there's a bunch of shirts in the floor and you just got to grab one.
yeah,
And unfortunately, Ryan Williams was last. I think he had to
yeah. Well,
grab the
Reece
three
Day
times
probably.
extra large size.
Yeah, Reece Day chose a load of sizes. He just said, "Well, I'm 6'4", so this is what you're getting." Marcus Gale as well in that team.
But to be fair, there was also that period, wasn't there? Sort of, the 90s and a bit of a hangover into the 2000s, and so perhaps 2006-07 was one of the last seasons where the style was baggy. I mean, I look at some of the shirts that I have from sort of well, I don't have them anymore, but from the early 90s, and they just hung off you. I mean, they were not tight. But of course, tight is another matter. I mean, do we really want to? I mean, it may look good on some of these athletes, but maybe not necessarily good on our bodies. Let's be honest.
Very true, very true. Was it Cameroon's World Cup 2002? Like Klingon
Wasn't
there.
it Kappa, the Italian kits with Kappa, who were
Oh
you,
yeah,
you
they
had
have.
you had to be really muscly to wear those, and
Yeah.
just seeing the supporters from Italy wearing those at the World Cup, not
Love
quite the
it.
same, is it?
Yeah, the game I was going to mention is the kind of the one I remember. I don't know why it sticks out because it's not the one where I'm like in the East Bank, but it was Blackpool away in the FA Cup. We were in that kit in the freezing cold in January on the kind of temporary stand along the entirety of the sideline as the Blackpool Stadium was still kind of it was just one conjoined behind the goal stand and the main stand still being built. Um, but yeah, I just remember it freezing, and I think there was over 1,000 Aldershot there in Blackpool, and I think that was my first experience of like how I don't know how big this is because obviously it took ages to get there, and it just blew my mind that there were that many Aldershot fans there. And despite losing and being pretty comprehensively beaten, it was like a party atmosphere when John Grant. I mean, John Grant scored in the 27th to make it 2-1. There was a chance there, I think, and Mark Pritchard scored in the 88th minute. So yeah, I'm going to put Johnny Grant as my the kind of guy that I think of as well. in a scoring sense, but Ryan Williams in a um, draped in a shot shirt sense.
I think that's another episode. Is the coldest game you've ever been to? Well, I'm sure we
There'll
can
be
do
so many.
a separate episode for that.
Oh, yes, definitely. Write that down. Great. Well, let's move on to worst. It's always nicer to talk about the worst one, isn't it? It's easy to be negative in this time, but this is quite a nice one to be negative about. Guy, I'm going to come to you. What is your worst or least favorite shots home shirt?
Yeah, so I'm going to pick two, if I may. One from the old club, and well, two from the new club. So the old club, the worst one for me was, we're coming towards the end of their existence in the league. It's the one that came out after we've been relegated back to Division 4. We have this massive, great club crest, ridiculously large club crest, and then halfway through the season they slapped on Lada, the the East European car company. Um, Not great. I mean, it was if you were trying to advertise, where the state of Aldershot Football Club, I don't think Lada was the best uh product we could have been going for. Yeah, that wasn't fantastic. To be fair, we had some pretty dire sponsors towards the end, didn't we? I mean, we had sort of Epic Facts, which frankly, the idea of a photocopying machine being that sort of amazing just doesn't strike me as particularly impressive. But now, so that's sort of the old club. The new club, or sort of, well, yeah, the current club. The two that stand out for me are really sort of at the end of the 1990s, when we're having this kind of wild period of mad designs and colors. It's between sort of the 97, 98, and sort of the 98, 2000 one. The 98, 2000 one, it kind of has those kind of the weird sort of stripes going along. You've got one vertical blue stripe down the middle, and these kind of what almost look like wings, red and blue on the side, but on the front instead of the back, which never really made sense to me. But the one that I'm going to give the nod to 97, 98 because it's on its own, it's actually not too bad. It's a blue shirt with red stripes on either side, but that's the problem. It's a blue shirt. I don't have a problem with red and blue, but a blue shirt is not what we do. So yeah, for that reason, it's got to go.
Nice, nice. I think that came across as a bit of a rhyme there as well. And we'll have to see what that sounds like in the edit. Yeah, to be honest, but as you were talking about it, it seemed like you were talking about it in quite a fond manner, and I was like, oh yeah, that's actually it has a really nice kit actually. And then you said, but it's
It was
blue.
it was actually not a bad kit. I thought it's not a bad kit. It's just not an Aldershot kit. That's the problem. I mean, if it was for say Rochdale or any other team that wears blue, great. But Aldershot is predominantly red with blue in some shape or form. It's not the other way around.
Yeah,
I didn't think you'd get so upset, Guy, with that. Yeah, I can tell you're really upset.
it was simmering.
It's
It's been
okay.
simmering
It's
for
all
half
right,
the
Even
Guy.
night.
25 years on, yeah.
It's okay, Guy. You can get over it. It's gone. Let it go.
My worry, yeah, but my worry is that, with the current trend in kit wear to sort of basically pay homage to, shirts of the past, someone somewhere is going to get it in their head that we should basically resurrect this shirt.
I mean, it seems like something we should do just to, if anything, just to rile Guy up. Make it happen, Shots team. Great, a great first submission to least favorite Shots home shirt. Ian, going to come to you next. What have you got for us?
No contest 12-13 shirt. Of course, it's goes together with our relegation out of the Football League. The main thing I don't like about it is the sponsor being yellow. So it's EBB, obviously loyal sponsors. They've done shirts, they've done the ground, of course, for many years now. So very grateful to that business for their continued support. But why on earth were they having yellow lettering rather than white? So that's one of the reasons I'm not keen on it at all. And of course, just the bad memories of a horrible, horrible season. So that one for me.
Yeah, it's the yellow trim as well. It seemed like it was basically geared to be EBB branded shot shirt rather than an Aldershot shirt with EBB on it.
Yeah, the sort of the yellow stitching as well. That's kind of yeah, it's not
What is it
symmetrical, and
doing? Yeah.
it's just a really poor kit. And I think even if that had been a bit of a happier season or ending for the shots, I don't think that would have been one that would ever be like wanting to go back to, I suppose. And that is the good thing. I think that yeah, we're unlikely to try and replicate that one. I hope.
No, definitely not. I think yeah, 'cause it's also the area logo in white and then the EBB in yellow. It's like if you're feeling like yellow is the way to go, then make the area logo at least yellow, because then the kit
Hmm.
would at least look like it's set in a general theme. But the EBB just looks like it's sticking out like a sore thumb. I think I have the away kit of that one, which is just it's fine. It's fine. It's quite nice because
What
the
colour was
area
that?
and that was just the white. That was the all white on the night
Oh yes, yeah,
kit,
that's
of
right.
course.
Of course, for the Manchester United game.
Yeah. So maybe it was quite good that we didn't wear that the red shirt against Man United. Great. Well, that was a clear contender for me as well. That kit. But Julian, gonna come to you. What's your least favorite shot shirt?
Yeah, I'll keep it quite brief. I think we've mentioned it already. It's the Adidas grab grab the Adidas shirt off the shelf when we came back from the Football League. Just grim years, really, wasn't it? We started off with a 10-point deduction, so we were just fighting all the season just to stay up. And there was no thought went into it really. It was just grab a shirt. As Ian said earlier, it's got white stripes, which just isn't us. And the thing that I remember mostly about that kit, I think, is that just a few months ago we were playing teams like Plymouth and Bournemouth, and our first home game I think was against Welling, and it just really hit home to me. Oh my God, not no disrespect to Welling, and if there's any supporters out there, then yeah, Welling are a good team, etc. Other teams more fancied, but yeah, it's just that drop from playing those EFL teams to non-league football has finally arrived. It just felt a really grim time, and the kit was just really ordinary. And as you said earlier on, Will, it was just Macclesfield have got one and Peterborough got one. It was just no thought went into it really. So just just grim. The other thing I've mentioned as well, which came to my mind when Guy was talking, there was one of our kits around about that time that I think broke a few records because it had 4 different colours in it. And it's the only home kit that's had 4 different colours in it. So I'll let you guys decide which one it is.
Four colours. Four colours. Huh.
Lots of confused faces there, but there were
Yeah.
4 colours in it, and it's the only home kit, as far as I can tell. And there was quite a big thing made at the time. It's the only home kit in the whole of the country that's had 4 colours in it.
Oh wait. So uh, what in 96, 97? There was
It was round about there. There was red, blue, white,
yellow.
and yellow.
Yeah, yellow in the collar and yellow on the ICIS, but yeah, and the white. Oh God, yeah. There's a lot going on in that kit.
So if anyone else can find a home kit that's got 4 different colours in it, then
I mean,
perhaps that's a
there
question
probably
for
will
the
be now, won't there? Now that there's a lot going on with these kits these days. Not to get too
all these days. Yeah.
these days.
I mean, the 12-13 ones technically got 4 colours because you've got the red as the main body, the maker as the white, the yellow as the sponsor lettering, and the
Oh
blue
yeah.
badge that we had at the time, and blue trim for the sleeves. So
Oh, is there blue trim on that? Oh, that makes it
yeah,
kind of even worse, actually. The picture
This
I
is
can see
not
doesn't show the little trim.
this
hmm.
should not be seen as an invitation to any Aldershot, aspiring Aldershot kitwear manufacturer to make 5 for next season.
There's a challenge for you. But yeah,
Please do.
my worst kit is that Adidas one. So going from Plymouth Argyle to Welling just did it for me.
Um, Yeah. Oh God, that 13-14 kit is so bad. I don't know why it's so bad. I think, I mean, the image I've got here, the badge and the maker are so far away. Adidas is miles away from the badge. I don't know what's going on, unless it's just a weird sizing.
I,
Um,
am
yeah,
I the only one then who actually quite liked the Adidas era? I mean, admittedly, it's more towards the end than the beginning. I get what your Julian's saying, but I,
Yes, you are, Guy. You're the only one.
I think you might be. Yeah, I think when we had when we finally had blue in it in 16, 17, when we actually had a bespoke one. I think because we had that was 3 years of we were only going to have a red and white kit basically.
hmm.
Um, that was quite weird and a bit grim. Yeah, because my suggestion was going to be because it was going to be the 13-14 one, but I'm going to extend it, and mine's going to be the 14-15 one.
Or
The other
can I
thing,
can
friends who bought the kits 13, 14, 15 also said they were very disappointing in terms of the quality that you would expect better from a major brand
yeah.
in that respect as well.
Well, you're quite right there, Ian. I would
It's got no
also
sponsor.
add, yeah, I would also add to that that the badge came off.
Yeah, badges. My badge is off. Well, it's like faded off.
Yeah.
Um,
No, mine
Bridges is no
basically
longer on there.
peeled, sort of basically started peeling off. And then my wife put it through the wash and the sponsors disappeared. So
Yeah.
yeah.
No, I don't like this one. I wore it a lot for five-a-side, to be fair, so I can't say it was all just the maker's thing, but rubbish. And also the label it was just permanently out.
Mm.
Yeah, but I remember looking at the kind of I actually like the away kit of that one, but we can't talk about it. The white one, but again that sponsor did completely fade off immediately. So for me, it's 14-15 in a similar vein to Julian. Probably yeah, suspended reality that we were going to just bounce straight back up eventually, but that season we did not. I've got to come back to you, Guy, with your what do you think the Aldershot kit should be? Because I think you said red, red with blue, red
I would
and
say
blue.
predominantly red. I mean, I'm comfortable with a red shirt or red and blue
You
stripes.
sure
I've
you
always
don't want a blue shirt, Guy, with red trims? Be nice.
We can do some curvy stripes if you like.
well, I mean, look, I mean, I no, I think I like blue, don't get me wrong. I just don't think a predominantly blue shirt is Aldershot, that's all. That said, what there was and towards the tail end of the Adidas era, we did have that red shirt with the blue sleeves, which actually of all of them was probably the best one. But I don't think it can actually be considered a great shirt simply because it was also the season that we got relegated, but were reprieved by Gateshead. So if unfortunately that shirt, drops down in my estimation as a result. One thing I am prepared to die on though is that we do not wear red shorts. I'm all for red shirts and blue being in that shirt as well. But when it comes to red shorts and red shirts, absolutely not. We're blue shorts, or occasionally white.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, I've got some red shorts actually. I wear them as pajamas, red Aldershot shorts. So I'm probably bucking the trend there. But I'm aware we haven't got that much time. We've got a minute and a half. Ian, what do you think? Red and blue, red with blue.
Yeah, majority red with some blue. I quite like the striped ones of the 80s. I'd like someone to make some replicas of that one. I like the current home kit a lot. The players look really good in that, but it's not a kit I would wear for myself. But yeah, the one guy's holding up on the Zoom call, 80-ish, 83, something like that, I think. Yeah, those retro stripes, if somebody could recreate those, I'd be very happy with that.
Nice. And Julian, we've got less than a minute. Red with blue or red and blue?
I'm going to be a bit confrontational here. I've always liked kits that have been a bit disruptive to the norm. And we talked about that kit of yours, Will, with the quarters. That's never been done before, and yet we all look at it really fondly now. So I would like to see something really creative and disruptive. Just very quickly, again, you guys may remember the chocolate kit from Coventry City back in the late 70s. which is an absolute beauty. So if anyone doesn't know it, then they should go on there. And also Coventry did a Talbot Cars kit as well, which I absolutely loved. And that for me is creative and disruptive. And that's what I want to see, something like that.